Hello and welcome to the Monroe Method Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 191. Now, if you are listening to this when I release it or soon after I release it, and you're someone that listens regularly, you will have realised that it's been a couple of weeks since I posted an episode. There's a reason for that. So June the 25th was the last one. The next one would have been due on July the 2nd. I put my microphone in a pocket and I took it with me in the car. And the plan was to record an episode, and then for whatever reason I didn't. And then I lost the bloody microphone. And I have checked my bags, I've checked my pockets, I've checked the clothes that went through the washing in case I was praying that I hadn't put it through the wash because it was not cheap. And last night, which was the 13th of July, last night, I was sitting in my room thinking, it's been so hot that I've not had any jackets on, but I must have had a fleece on at some point because I thought, I wonder if it's in there. If you watch any of my Instagram stuff, you know the fleece I mean. It's the one that I wear all the time, the one that I love. I got it at Christmas, my passenger fleece. Anyway, checked the first pocket, nothing there. Checked the second pocket, felt a lump. And if you saw my stories last night, I posted a picture of it. So, I am back to record 2 episodes, which I'm quite excited about because I've got loads of ideas to talk through, but let's keep it specific and on topic. Let's start at the top with the first idea. Pre-assigned weight. Listen to me. When you are trying to lose weight, right, you're not trying to lose weight. What you are trying to do is fight against yourself. Like most people going on a diet. They don't go on a diet. They don't go on a weight loss journey. What they do is they start a battle with themselves. Now, what I mean by that is, it's the same recurring message through everything that I talk about, right? Your weight is where it is because that is where it is supposed to be. That is who you are. The way that you wake up every day and take care of yourself from morning until night until you go to your bed, and then you wake up the next day and you do it again. The stuff that you do at the weekends, the stuff you do at night, the snacking, the alcohol, the weekends away, the holidays, the nights out, the takeaways, the meals out, breakfast, lunch, dinner, fucking everything. Your weight is the compounded outcome of everything that you eat, drink, do, and think. Okay? Whatever your weight is right now, it is exactly where it is supposed to be because that is the way that you live your life. Now, when you go on a diet, in the traditional sense of the word, what you do is you ignore all of that stuff. You park yourself to the side for a little while. You don't focus on the habits, you don't focus on the behaviours, you don't do anything about your emotional eating or your stress eating or your boredom eating. You don't do anything about going on nights out and, you just instead try to be less social. Like you ignore yourself. I like to think of it as you hit pause on the real you for a little while so you can go on a little journey and be weight loss you for a little while. And then all you're doing is you're not losing weight. You're getting into a battle with yourself. So what happens is you go to Slimming World or Weight Watchers or you count calories or you follow a meal plan, whatever it is. Somebody says, here, do this and you'll lose weight. The problem is you're trying to follow that thing while also being you. So you're trying to do the calories and the tracking and all this stuff, but you're also someone who eats when they're bored. You're trying to follow Slimming World and do all the other stuff, but you're also someone who emotionally eats, or you're trying to follow a meal plan, but you're also someone who wants to snack in front of the TV every night. When people struggle to lose weight, it's not because weight loss is a struggle, it's because they're struggling against themselves. So here's the way that I explain this to clients, okay? Every habit that you have that leads to you putting calories into your body has a pre-assigned level of weight attached to it. So I'm working with a few people just now who have a significant amount of weight to lose, 5, 6, 7, 8 stones to lose. And I always have this chat with these people and explain, like, because they get very daunted about the amount of weight that they have to lose, right? And I try to explain to them that I know how it feels. I know why it feels like that. And I know that in your head, you're thinking, if I've got, 150 pounds to lose and I lose a pound a week, that's going to take 3 years. Like, don't think of it like that, because that's not how it's going to go. Think of it like this, right? You did not wake up one day and you were 9 stone and you just gained a pound a week every week until you reached 18 stone. It didn't work like that. You went through different phases of life that led you to do different things. Your weight loss does not all come from the same place. Nobody just emotionally eats and only emotionally eats until they've added 5 stone to their body. It doesn't work like that. It's one of many things that's going on. Okay, and it's a lot of the things that you don't think about. When I sit down and talk to people, they'll tell me about 2 or 3 habits that they think are responsible for their weight. Somebody does not get to 15 stone because they have a takeaway on a Saturday night, right? Somebody does not get to 20 stone because they snack in front of the TV a few times a week. It's playing a part, but it's part of a bigger picture. It's one piece of a bigger puzzle. So the way I like to think of it is this, right? Every consumption-related habit that you have has a pre-assigned portion of weight attached to it. I'll give you a personal example, right? At my lowest weight, I was down, I can't really remember now, it was near 11 stone. I might have got to just under 11 stone. And that was great, because I had washboard abs. Well done me. But it was ridiculous trying to stay there. It was incredibly restrictive. For me to maintain that low level of body fat, that low body fat percentage, I couldn't have a life. You could have, life orientated around protein and fiber. This was like when I first lost weight. When I last dieted, it was like the lowest weight I had got down to, like 11, I think it was like 10, 12 or 10, 13, something like that, right? And I was shredded. And great, awesome. That was important to me back then, having visible abs, until I realised that, Jesus, I am going to have to live in a super restricted way to live here, to stay here. I'm not going to be able to have takeaways. I'm not going to be able to be spontaneous. I'm going to have to plan and prepare every meal. Every meal is going to have to be super focused around protein and fiber. Basically, food was going to have to become far too much of a focal point, or continue to be too much of a focal point. And that was when I worked with the coach I was working with at the time. So they had taken me as far as they could go. This is when I then went on to become a nutritionist and all that stuff. Now, that was me at my lowest. I now float between something like 11.5 to 12 stone. So could I go to 10 stone, 12 or 11 stone and stay there? Yes, of course I could. Anybody can go to any number they want. But was I prepared to live in the super restrictive way to stay there? No. So let's say that if all I did was eat 3 meals a day that were orientated around protein and fiber, ate when I was hungry, stopped when I was full, had a couple of snacks a day that were fruit, and I did nothing else, I could get to stay at, let's say, 11 stone 12, 10 stone 12. But who the fuck wants to live like that? Who wants to live like that? So anything that's over and above that then adds weight to your body. So what do I do that would be an example? Let's say you want to regularly go out for coffee and cake 2 or 3 times a week, right? And that cake's not necessary, you don't need it, but you want to have it. And let's say you want to sit and have some chocolate in the evening watching the TV. And let's say you want to... What else? I need to think of habits other people have that I don't. Let's say you want to drink alcohol regularly. So all these little extra things, these now become extras. calories on top of the ones that you need. So these are now ones that you don't need. Now, when you eat things that you don't need, you add in calories that you don't need, you add weight to your body. So however it's panning out, I eat in a way that has added another, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 pounds back onto my body. And that's fine because I'm comfortable with it. I'm not overweight. I'm still a healthy weight. So maybe I have a habit that's adding 2 pounds to my body. And maybe going out for coffee and cake a couple of times a week is adding a pound to my body. And maybe drinking alcohol-free beers at the weekend, because they still contain calories, maybe that's adding a pound to my body. But then let's make that bigger. Let's spread that out to the wider world, to people who have weight to lose, right? Emotional eating might be responsible for 10 pounds of the weight that you're carrying. The way that you approach alcohol, getting drunk, eating under the influence, eating after the influence, that could be responsible for 8 pounds of the weight that you're carrying. Using food to fill every boredom gap in the day, that could be responsible for 4 pounds of the weight that you're carrying. Maybe you keep bags of sweets in the car, and every time you make a car journey, you're eating 2 or 3 sweets. That could be responsible for 2 pounds of the weight that you're carrying. Dieting misses the point, right? Do you know what? Here's a good way to think of it. These habits are like direct debits. They're going to come off your bank all the time. Fuck, where am I going with this? How's this going to work? So, yeah, they're direct debits. They're going to come off every month. You can't change them. They have to come off. And the only way to make a change to them would be to cancel them. The only way to stop them come off, right? I don't have any direct debits right now because I'm still staying at home at my mum's, so I've started with a terrible example. I do pay digs. I pay digs. If you don't know what digs are, digs like rent to my mum. Anyway, fuck it. Let's leave the direct debit thing. I'll come back to it if I can make sense of it. That was a new one that I was trying out. But the point is, these habits will always be attached to your weight. They will never go away until you cancel the habit in the same way that you would cancel a direct debit. So you can diet all you want. You can track the calories, you can follow the plans, you can go to Slimming World, you can step on the scales, you can do all of that shit. But if you do not change the attachments, the weight will never go away and stay away. Because that weight is pre-assigned. It is always going to be there. If you manage to ignore it for a little while, to not be that person for a little while, let's say you do manage to diet down all the way to your goal weight, right? Let's say you are trying to get to 9 stone. Let's say you were 12 stone, you wanted to get to 9, and you managed to get yourself there with calorie counting, okay? Great. Then you decide that I don't want to do the calorie counting anymore. I'm going to just stay here at 9 stone. So you stop doing the tracking, you stop doing the calorie counting, and then what? The emotional eating comes back in. The stress eating comes back in. The boredom eating comes back in. The takeaways sneak back in at the weekend. The wine starts sneaking back in at the weekend. And all these things that you did before that had 5 pounds attached to it, 6 pounds attached to it, 8 pounds attached to it, all of that stuff comes back. So this is why dieting is so... I'm swearing a lot in this episode, but I'm feeling quite passionate. But this is why dieting is so fucking pointless. It is so pointless. It's a waste of time. Imagine spending a year dieting and losing 3 stone while not losing the habits that put the 3 stone there in the first place. What's going to happen the moment you stop dieting? The 3 stone comes back. Dieting is honestly the biggest waste of a person's time, a biggest waste of a person's life. You lose so much of your life to chasing numbers down on the scales because you don't do it properly. You bypass the work that matters. You just want to be told what. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to eat. Just tell me how many calories to eat. Just give me something to follow. This is why I don't make food recommendations. This is why I show people what to do and educate them as best I can. And then I say, right, now it's over to you. I want you to take care of your body in a way that matches this balance, in a way that you enjoy. I want you to build your diet. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm going to take you part of the way there. Then you're going to fill in the gaps. So, the key takeaway from today is that the weight that you're carrying, you are supposed to carry it. And you are going to carry that weight for your entire life until you resolve the habits that put that weight there. No amount of dieting makes the habits go away. No amount of dieting changes your mindset or changes your thinking or changes your habits and your behaviours. You have to address them directly. That's why inside everything I do, we spend so much time talking about this stuff, talking about what life looks like. And this is why when I'm doing fortnightly check-ins, those check-ins are to review what happened the last 2 weeks. Doesn't matter how many meals out there were, or barbecues, or holidays, or weekends away, or what happened. Irrelevant. We're reviewing the last 2 weeks to find out how you navigate moments in life that are like that, so that we can talk about it and take it to pieces and rebuild it and reframe it and get you to look at it from the right angle, so that the next time you go through a period like that, you handle it differently, like the future version of yourself, which is the next episode. So I just read that on my bit of paper. Anyway, right, we're back in the swing of it. Until next time.